It appears that the famous handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga is still very firmly in place. Yesterday, a very high-powered team from the Devolution Ministry visited Raila Odinga at his offices. What was the agenda? To update Raila Odinga on the forthcoming devolution conference, scheduled for later this month in Kakamega. In that team was Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, who is also the deputy chair of the Council of Governors, the council that brings all the governors together in the country. After that meeting, Anne Waiguru had some very nice words for Raila Odinga. Something else very interesting happened after this very fascinating meeting. Okay? Raila Odinga was scheduled to address the press at a joint press conference with the Devolution CS, Eugene Wamalwa. That press conference did not quite work out like that, because the person who ended up addressing that press conference was ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna. Now, somebody must have realized, that such a press conference would have been suicide. A joint press conference between Raila Odinga and Eugene Wamalwa would have been suicide. What am I talking about? Protocol is the spinal cord of politics, okay? And that protocol strictly addresses hierarchy. Bila kizungu mingi, can you imagine a situation whereby Uhuru Kenyatta has a joint press conference with one of Raila Odinga's aides? Somebody whom Raila Odinga would appoint to their cabinet. Can you imagine such a situation? Now you get the gist of what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Because the impression we're given about the handshake is that it was a handshake between two equals. And the joint communique which was released shortly after that meeting addressed Raila Odinga as His Excellency. It said there was a meeting between His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta and His Excellency Raila Odinga. Indeed, for that handshake to hold any water, it needed to be precisely that, a handshake between two equals. One person representing a certain constituency in Kenya and the other person representing another. And the whole idea was to bring these two constituencies together. Heal the nation and bring them together. That's really what it was. However, what is unfolding now is puzzling, for lack of a better word. Now we are told we are not allowed to criticize Raila Odinga. Okay? But it is okay to criticize Uhuru Kenyatta. Why are we not allowed to criticize Raila Odinga? Well, it would seem the long and short of it is that it is because Raila Odinga has made so many sacrifices for the country called Kenya. Now, I don't know if the people making such statements are aware of exactly what they're saying. In fact, I'm sure they're not aware. Because what they're telling us is that if Raila Odinga is appointed President of the Republic of Kenya tomorrow, or rather if Raila Odinga becomes, because people are not appointed President, they win elections, and indeed the truth is Raila Odinga is supposed to be the President of Kenya, that is the truth, there's no doubt about that, his election was stolen yet again, okay? But back to my point, if Raila Odinga were to ascend to the presidency tomorrow, it means that we will not be allowed to criticize Raila Odinga. That's really what these people are telling us. And to me, that is very, very scary. Indeed, there are a lot of other very scary and very disturbing things, going on with one Raila Odinga at the moment, and his allies, close allies, and his aides and his advisors. A case in point, after days of silence, Raila Odinga finally emerges with a statement hitting out at Fred Matiang'i, the internal CS. And Raila says Matiang'i should not have attacked the judiciary, which I agree with. However, I don't buy that statement. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. And I'll tell you why in a minute. This development is quickly followed by what would appear to be a well-choreographed move, where one of the closest advisors to Raila Odinga for a long time, Abwana Salim Lon, makes a very interesting tweet. He praises the statement, and says it brings out the statesmanship in Raila Odinga. Now. That tweet is very similar to a statement issued by Anne Waiguru after she met with Raila Odinga. Now, she mentioned statesmanship and all that, and how Raila is a statesman and so on and so forth, which is true. However, all this kizungu mingi misses the point. It ignores the truth. Now I need to ask you a question. If you went into the compound of somebody and then the dogs harassed you, they're barking at you, they're jumping all over the place, they're threatening to bite you and infect you with rabies, and then I met you afterwards and then you told me so-and-so's dogs are very bad. Those dogs are so vicious. They should be locked up. They should be put to sleep. They should be shot. These are very bad dogs. I don't know what's wrong with these dogs. Is that what you do? Because if somebody did that to me, I would start doubting their sanity. Because the truth is that those dogs have an owner. And it's very simple for the owner to take those dogs and lock them up in their cage. End of story. And then you'd walk in comfortably. And so the issue here is not the dogs. The issue here is the owner of those dogs. The guys who let out the dogs. The guy who refused to lock up those dogs in a cage because you're expected at his house. That is the truth. Now the dogs may be bad. They may be very vicious, ferocious dogs. But no matter how vicious and ferocious they are not the issue. The issue is their owner. The truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, is that Bwana Fred Matiang'i does not wake up every morning and do his own things. No way. Bwana Matiang'i, in such a sensitive docket as Interior, does not do his own things. Never. He'd lose his job at the blink of an eye if he tried to go outside his script. And the script has been written by his bosses. The script has been written by his boss. Folks, there's a very bad smell in this issue. What is unfolding in Kenya is extremely dangerous. I know we are not allowed to criticize Raila Odinga, but in my view, Raila Odinga is starting to behave exactly like the devious, illegal, evil Jubilee government. What this man, whom I respect very much, indeed more than any other politician in Kenya, is doing, is that he's trying to divert our attention away from the real issues here. He's trying to divert our attention away from the truth. In sharp contrast, there's a lawyer called Njonjo Mwe. He's a human rights lawyer. And what he has done, he has given the government a deadline of 12 noon. Today, Thursday, Kenyan time. To produce Miguna Miguna in court. Failure of which, he will surrender his passport to the Director of Immigration. Now, why will Bwana Mwe do this? He says very clearly, and I like what he says. He says that he's not a friend of Miguna Miguna. He does not hold brief for Miguna Miguna. And they'll probably never be friends with Miguna Miguna. But that's beside the point. The point is, another citizen of the Republic of Kenya has had their passport snatched away from them without due process. All these things you have to go to court. You can't just wake up one day and decide something. Even no matter how powerful you are as a government. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So Bwana Mwe says, you can't do that and then deny entry to Kenyan, yeah, by birth, you deny him entry into the country, and you do not only do that, you forcefully and illegally remove him from the country. Yeah, you can't just do that. And so the long and short of what Bonamu is saying is that if another Kenyan cannot use their passport, I see no reason why I should use mine. And that is why he's going to surrender it to the Director of Immigration after 12 noon. Now, of course, we know that even if the government decides to obey what Bwanamue is doing, or if they decide to succumb to Bwanamue's threats, there's no way they can produce Miguna within that time frame. And so it is safe to assume that Bwanamue is going to surrender his passport to the Director of Immigration. My point here is that you do not have to like Miguna Miguna as a person to realize that a great injustice has been done on a fellow Kenyan, and we don't know who's next. In other words, we must fix this Miguna Miguna thing first before anything else. Yeah, before devolution conferences, before all the other issues, all the other things we want to do. Now, those who are supporting what the vicious, brutal treatment which Miguna Miguna received, yeah, are very short-sighted. Yeah, I want to avoid very much using an abusive term. Yeah, an abusive term towards the intelligence. So I'll just say they're being very, very short-sighted. Why do I say that? The reason is they fail to see beyond their noses. And here's why. Somebody has done this to Miguna Miguna today. Yeah, 5 years is a very short time. So in 2022, without doubt, yeah, assuming that things go according to plan in Kenya, which I'm sure they will not, but that's not the point for now. Let me just give an example. Assuming that we go smoothly through to 2022, without doubt, we're going to have a new president. Now, politics is unpredictable. Therefore, you cannot predict who the next president will be. You just can't, especially in the current political environment in Kenya. You can't. So humor me for a minute, and let us assume and let us imagine that that president will be Miguna Miguna. Now, when Miguna takes over state machinery, yeah, and becomes very powerful, he appoints an interior CS. His interior CS is Senator Malala. And so Miguna Miguna decides emotionally that he does not like Moses Kuria. Yeah, and therefore you hear a story that Moses Kuria obtained his ID illegally. Yeah, and indeed his passport illegally. And so the long and short of it is that there's a Lunga Lunga dance, yeah, at the airport with Moses Kuria on the receiving end. Now the huge difference is that Bwana Kuria does not have dual citizenship, yeah, and my advice to him, he'd better get it chap chap, yeah, because he's allowed if he's allowed these things that have been done to Miguna to happen. In fact, if he has helped to make them happen, he had better get dual citizenship, even triple citizenship. Yeah, I know it's not allowed, but he had just better. Anyway, let's assume Bwana Kuria ignores my advice. He's just a citizen of Kenya. So he's thrown out of the country. Yeah, he's put on a plane and flown I don't know to where. Maybe Saudi Arabia. Or even better, Mogadishu is dumped there. Yeah, and the airlines are given strict instructions. If you fly Moses Kuria into Kenya, you're not allowed in the country. And President Miguna Miguna does this, yeah, through his internal CS, Bwana Malala, without due process. He ignores court orders. President Miguna Miguna's government ignores over 10 court orders, yeah, which order them to produce Moses Kuria in court. I think you get my drift. If you allow such injustice today, you're just stupid. Because tomorrow, you never know what will happen. It will happen to somebody else. And because there's a president, yeah, President Miguna Miguna will just stand up and say, look, this thing was done before. You all know it was done before. So what is wrong with me doing it? I know it is illegal, but it was done before, and Kenyans said it's okay. Therefore, why is it not okay now that I'm president? Folks, there's no shortcut here. We must address the Miguna Miguna issue. And you don't have to like the guy. Yeah? You don't. It is not an issue of how handsome or not handsome Bwana Miguna Miguna is. It is not. Or how lovable he is. It is not. It is just a question of pure common sense. I don't want to use the word justice, because when I use that word, we start going to legal things, and we are not all lawyers. This is just pure common sense. Address the Miguna Miguna issue before anything else. That's really what it is. Now, in the next episode of this series, I will try and tie up the political implications of the circus that is going on. Yeah, Raila Odinga and government handshake circus. Yeah, don't miss it. You know the usual drill. Click on that link on your top left-hand corner of the screen, and you'll be on to part 2. This is Kshs Kumekucha.